history books remember you? What would be your legacy?
Through centuries of resistance, Black Americans have helped the country live up to its founding ideals. Without our idealistic, strenuous, and patriotic efforts, our democracy today would look very different. In fact, our country might not be a democracy at all.
No, Hannah Nicole Jones, America is not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. Welcome back to the Biblical Conservative channel, where we come against the anti-God, anti-biblical, anti-human, anti-American, anti-Christian spirit that's looking to prevail in this land. So, I made a previous video announcing the release of the 1619 docuseries on Hulu. And so the first episode dropped. It was all about democracy. Now, I did my best to watch the entire episode. And there were so many points throughout this episode, I wanted to turn it off. But I wanted to give it a fair shake to be able to report back what's all in this episode. So first of all, the entire theme of the episode is about democracy. And you have to understand something. The reason why they keep talking about democracy and not really telling you the truth, that America is a constitutional republic, that we're a republic and not a democracy, is because in a democracy, the mob rules. In a democracy, the mob dictates to the minority what the rules, what the laws will be. In a constitutional republic, you elect representatives, and then you are represented by all these representatives. Then the representatives make choices on behalf of the people. The people are sending people to, this case, the capital of their particular state, and then they're sending people to the capital of the United States, Washington, D.C., to represent them. See, in a constitutional republic, you don't have, for example, New York, because it has more of a population base dictating to Mississippi what it can do. See, that's what people don't understand. That's why America is not a democracy. Because if America was a democracy, the states with the highest populations could dictate what the country would do. But see, the liberals and progressives like Nicole Hannah Jones don't want you to know that. They want to convince you that America is a democracy when it is not.
We're here today to talk about democracy. Can you talk about the state of American democracy right now?
Well, the state of American democracy is really on life support, in my opinion. You had the insurrection of January 6th. You have all of these draconian policies being implemented to prevent people from being able to select their representatives and to have a voice. The takeover process, where they have total control of the outcome of elections. That kind of thing is really putting us in peril.
I think, Curtis Scott King once said, like, freedom is a never-ending process. Struggle is never really won. You win it and earn it in every generation. And one thing that Mrs. Hallen often says is, this is our summer moment. And so while I know our democracy is in a very, very bad place, I feel like we've been here before.
And really, if you look at the civil rights movement, it wasn't won overnight, Tim. It was a drawn out period of time before we could get that right. We are just really a resilient community. We have fought.
And who's the we?
We, Black people, Black people are
And
the
Black women.
And Black women, yes. We are resilient. We can make it happen, and we can't give up. I'm a fighter. And, if you don't believe in something that you would die for, then you really don't believe in it.
It has to be so incredibly frustrating that you convinced people to have a stake in their democracy, that their vote matters. How do you return to those people again in 2024 and say, yes, they didn't protect your rights, they're not respecting your agenda, they passed more laws, it's going to make it harder for you to do it again because your vote matters.
It is a hard message, but it's a necessary message. We can't tell them give up.
I can't tell anybody to
You
give up.
can't tell them give up because you don't want them to stay at home, because that makes it even worse. So it's always evils. Quite honestly, it's the lesser of two evils until you can get in and have a true majority.
And so you have these people talking about how fragile our democracy is. And they keep using that word democracy. And it's so sad because people are so misguided and so confused about what America is. They're so misguided. And watching this episode, this is a infomercial for the Democratic Party because it talks about how the Republican Party is full of white people, how they didn't accept the 2020 election, how they're looking to prevent black people from voting, how it uses the atrocities of the past, which are real, the real atrocities that were in place to stop black people from voting, like the poll tax, like the grandfather clause. I mean, there were a lot of things that were done that was true oppression, that was really meant to eliminate the black vote, because you have to understand something. There has always been racism, and there's always been state-sanctioned terrorism, always. And what she doesn't tell you is so funny. She makes this whole documentary, this whole episode is pointing the finger at the Republicans, but she does not even mention the fact that the reason why there was state-sanctioned terrorism, why there was the apartheid system in the South, was because of Southern Democrats. It was Southern Democrats that put that in place. It was Southern Democrats that terrorized black people. It was Southern Democrats that were the KKK. She doesn't tell you that. See, that's the inconvenient truth that she doesn't want you to know. That's the inconvenient truth that this docuseries doesn't want you to know. It wants to gin up hate. It wants to gin up division between black people and white people to make it seem like we have not advanced since the 1960s. I am so done with these people and these victim politics. These are victim politics. This is a victim docuseries. I'm gonna do my best to watch the remaining episodes when they drop. I really will, because I have to make sure we push back against this victim mentality. We are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. Was there atrocities done to black people in the past? Yes. Do we have to continue to live under the shadow of those atrocities? No, we don't. We do not. And the problem that I have with people like Nicole Hannah Jones and folks that think like her is that they want to continue to drudge up the past and make people who had no say in what happened in the past pay for the sins of their forefathers. And sometimes even their forefathers wasn't even over here. A lot of people came over here after the fact. They came over here after slavery. They came over here after the Civil War. You understand? So we had a huge influx of immigration from Europe in around the 1890s and early 1900s. Those people came after the Civil War. Those people came after slavery. Should they have to pay for slavery because they came after the fact? Should the U.S. government pay Japanese descendants because we interned them during World War II? Should we pay them? I mean, where does it end? Where does the victimization end? That's my question. And we as black people have to get out of this victim mindset because it is poisonous. It is toxic to progress. It is toxic to development. It is toxic to your prosperity. You must reject this kind of garbage. And the simple fact that they're letting this docuseries play on Hulu to continue to perpetuate, to continue to pump this toxic message into the culture is wrong. It is wrong, and it must be combated. It must be pushed back against with truth, because yes, there are plenty of atrocities to go around. Everybody has faced atrocities in the past, but you can't penalize people in the present for atrocities of the past. But unfortunately, people like Nicole Hannah Jones use this wedge issue because deep inside, she's a Marxist, she's a communist, and they want to destroy America. They want to remake it. Why do you think they keep talking about America as a democracy? Because they want to remake it in the image of a democracy, because a democracy eventually leads to totalitarianism, and totalitarianism leads to authoritarianism. To a person coming in, stepping into chaos and taking over. And that's exactly what they want. But what they don't realize is that in that type of scenario, it does not work out well for black people. Go to Russia and go to China and see how that works out. We are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. So I'll watch the next few episodes and report back. But man, if it continues anything like this one, pray for me, everybody.